Machiavelli Mills TV, what's going on, y'all? Now, I got to address this whole Kevin Durant, Chris Broussard situation straight down the middle, and I got to come straight from the gut. First of all, let's talk about it. Kevin Durant was upset with Chris Broussard saying that Kevin Durant's worst nightmare is coming true. The fact that the Golden State Warriors are winning in great fashion without him, proving that they don't need him in the first place, like Draymond Green said. So Kevin Durant basically responded saying, that ain't his worst nightmare. Is that really the worst of the things that he could be worried about? I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. So Chris Broussard went on air on FS1 Undisputed and said that he's not upset with Kevin Durant being mad at him or feeling some type of way about his remarks regarding how Kevin Durant would feel about the Warriors winning without him. He like, I'm not upset about it. And then he went on to explain the relationship that they have. He basically said that, you know, me and KD got like a love-hate relationship kind of. He's like, not even saying that, I'm not saying we're bosom buddies or that we're all that close, but we do have a relationship. And he said, this is no exaggeration. There have been days where we've texted for 2-3 hours straight about life, about basketball, about media, and about faith, right? So Kevin Durant decides to get on Twitter and says, and decides to say, cap, basically saying that Chris Broussard is lying. He don't even got his phone number. That man don't even got my phone number, right? And everybody try to clown Chris Broussard and laughing about it and saying that, KD pulled his card and Chris Broussard be lying and making up sources just like the rest of the media does. And this is the thing. Chris Broussard only misused the word. He said instead of DM, which is what they actually did, he said text, which was a misused word. He should have used the word DM. But essentially, it is all the same thing. Kevin Durant, see, this is the problem with KD. Kevin is upset with Chris Broussard's coverage of him this past year. In the past couple of years he's been in Golden State. Things that he said about him and he doesn't appreciate, right? And rightfully so. I'm never mad. Okay, an athlete can be upset about something that a media member says, and that's perfectly fine and dandy. You can be upset about how they feel, that's cool. But to act like the person is like he's not credible, you're destroying that man's credibility by just because he used the wrong word. Instead of text, he should have said DM, and now you acting like everything that he said is false. I don't get the impression that Chris Broussard was lying about him talking back and forth with Kevin Durant for hours. I don't believe that man was lying at all. Now, Chris Broussard is a professional, so he's not going to release those text messages and screenshots and everything to prove the world, like, look, I ain't lying. Kevin Durant the one that's lying. He's not going to do that as a professional media member. He's not going to do that. That's not the right thing to do. And ethically, other individuals who want to, divulge certain facts or have conversation with you, they're not going to trust Chris Broussard from this point on if he's willing to screenshot messages. So that's not something he's going to do. But Kevin Durant is trying to act like you should dismiss everything Chris Broussard is saying because he used text instead of DM. Now, let me remind y'all, Chris Broussard is 50 years old. He's a 50-year-old man. Sometimes my mama say she text somebody when she meant that she DM'd or inboxed them on Facebook. She means to say she inboxed them rather than text, but she'll say text because it's like texting somebody. Now, while Chris Broussard is a professional media member who's on Twitter frequently, I understand the older individual saying text, misusing the word text instead of saying DM. In his mind, it is actual text. So he's like, okay, I'm talking back and forth with him. Now, he doesn't have his number, and I don't think Chris Broussard was trying to act like, they best of friends. But Kevin Durant has willingly hit up Chris Broussard in his DMs first to have conversations about the things that he said, and they've had extended conversations about how he feels about what Chris Broussard has said and how Chris Broussard covers him and so on and so forth. And Chris Broussard said they talk about life, basketball, and everything else. But KD is simply trying to discredit Chris Broussard by acting like he don't know what he's talking about because he don't got his phone number. Really? That's childish. And this is how I know. I know individuals that do stuff like this, like KD is doing. I've had friends, like real talk. I know people who have, okay, let's just say your mother, my friend's mother has a best friend, and that mother is like an auntie to my friend, right? If somebody is making a point about something and regarding, the auntie, and he doesn't like what the person is saying, or he don't want to give credit. He doesn't want to validate what the person is saying. What he'll say, they was like, remember when your auntie said that about you, or whatever, said that you did that? And because he don't like what you're saying, he'll say, I don't got no auntie. My mama don't even got sisters. But he know damn well that he refers to his mama best friend as his auntie. See, you didn't use the right terminology. You didn't say your mama's best friend, but he'll say, I ain't got no auntie, to try to discredit everything that you're saying. Even though you could be saying truth, he's going to try to discredit everything you're saying by saying, my mama don't even got no sisters. To try to throw your whole argument out the window. Which is some BS, which is some clown-like behavior, which is something I feel like is childish, right? Let me explain something to y'all. Maybe I look at it differently, but Chris Broussard is a member of the media. His livelihood depends on him being credible. People look at Chris Broussard as one of the most trusted sources amongst NBA talks. I do. I'm not the only person. Everybody else says it in the comments section. Whenever he's on sports shows, debate shows, he's on Undisputed. He's on what's that show with Nick Wright and Chris Carter? When he's on that show, first things first. When he's on that show, people say Chris Broussard is extremely credible. When he's on Jason Whitlock's show, they talk about how credible he is and how much they appreciate his journalism. So now Kevin Durant saying that, oh, he ain't even got my number. He don't got my number. Like, Kevin Durant he's trying to show the world, like, I don't even fool with him like that. I don't fool with him like that. How you gonna talk like we got a relationship? Bro, you know you didn't DM that man back and forth. You know that man's not making it up. But because you don't like the things that he says, you don't like his coverage of you, you're gonna act like you're trying to discredit everything that he said just because he said the word text instead of DM. Like, bro, stop it, man. He ain't got my phone number. I don't fool with him like that. Okay, did y'all have the conversations back and forth? Yes or no? Answer that question. I don't like that, man. Like, that man's whole livelihood depends on that. So when you say he don't get your phone number, there will be individuals who will say, I can't trust Chris Broussard. He not gonna tell the truth. He make up stuff just like other media members do. He just make up stories. And Chris Broussard is not making up no story. That man, that journalist is not, that's a professional journalist. I've come to know Chris's work. He's a reliable source. Individuals love talking to Chris all the time. Some people that many others deem as some of the realest people that ever played in the NBA, they trust conversations with Chris Broussard. But now because KD doesn't like what's being said about him, he's acting like Chris Broussard's whole credibility is just shot. And people think it's funny, and I don't think it's funny at all, because that man has a family. He's an esteemed journalist, and his whole livelihood depends on him getting things right and saying correct, accurate information. He's not, if he's spewing out lies, his credibility is on the line, and people are gonna look like, I don't want to talk to him. Like I said before, he's not someone that's a trusted source. We need to move on to somebody else. And it's like, what? This man spent his whole career building up credibility as a very respected journalist who will tell the correct information at all times. And now an NBA player who's mad at his coverage is going to act like this man is just making up BS from top to bottom. And Chris Broussard made a video in response on Instagram defending his credibility. He was respectful. He said he will always be objective in covering KD, but he will always be respectful when talking about him as well because, Kevin Durant is a special talent in this NBA, and that is no debate. He is one of the greatest players to play this game in general. I think he is the most prolific scorer I have ever seen in my life because it's so effortless. Listen, I don't have a problem with NBA players feeling some type of way about their coverage from reporters. You can be upset. You have a right to be upset about the things that they say. You have a right to respond to some criticisms that are said about you. That's perfectly fine. But to try to discredit that man, like he don't know what he's talking about, like he's just pulling stuff out of thin air, that's irresponsible and that's disrespectful. And personally, I don't know if I can trust the account of a person who has burner accounts on Twitter, accounts where he's making up accounts to defend his honor. He's talking behind a steel wall and throwing stones and hiding his hand because he's talking mess behind fake accounts. And now he wants everybody to look at him as like a certain type of way. You know, and I'm not trying to demean Kevin, but it's true. If you had a fake account you was talking behind, defending your own honor, throwing your own teammates under the bus previously. So how should we say that you're such a credible guy in the first place? I just don't like him trying to throw Chris under the bus, man. And maybe I look at it because I'm a person who aspires to be a journalist, but I thought that was just so irresponsible and it's just so, it was petty because he didn't use the right phrase. He don't got your phone number. He don't know me. He don't know me. He acting like he know me. We ain't tight like that or whatever. Like Kevin, did that man go back and forth talking with you about certain things that he said before? Do y'all not have conversations through DM sometimes? Is he pulling that out of thin air? Answer that question. Respond to that. Yeah, he used the wrong phrase, the wrong term. Again, my father would say, my uncle sometimes would say, my older uncles would say, my uncles around Chris' age would say, text instead of DM sometimes. They will misplace, they will misuse those words interchangeably. They will interchange those words. A lot of older people do that. Now, you can say Chris shouldn't do that. He's a media member. He knows better. Again, I don't think he tried to make it seem like him and Chris were like best friends. He even said we're not bosom buddies. We're not all that close, but we do have a relationship. Meaning that Kevin talks to me about certain things that I say. We talk about other topics as well, which I don't think Chris is lying about that. But Kevin is like, again, he's a person. And I kind of twisted up my terminology. If a person doesn't like what you're saying, they'll pick one flaw in that argument and act like and try to discredit your whole argument. You can say the wrong phrase and they'll try to pick that out to say, look, he lying. He ain't telling the truth. Again, I've had friends who've had a point proven to them. And because they don't like the point proven to them, a person will say, oh, your auntie told me this. She told me that. And they'll say, I don't even got no auntie. My mama don't got no sisters. When you know damn well your mama's best friend is known as your auntie. You've called her your auntie all your life, and you know who I'm talking about. But because you don't like the facts that I'm telling, you're going to try to discredit my whole argument by saying you don't really have an auntie. But you know who I'm talking about. People do that all the time. This is nothing new under the sun. So Kevin Durant, man, I just think that's tacky. I don't respect that, man. You can say he don't got my phone number, Chris, but we have talked, yada yada yada. But okay, we ain't that close, but we've talked on social media before. But he tried to discredit it. He didn't even address the other stuff. He just tried to say cap. I hate that damn word cap too. Stop making that. Stop saying that. People love to try to be cool too. Stop it. But I don't know, man. It's just for him to say it's cap and all that, like that man completely lying about everything. It's like, bro, knock it off. Knock it off, Kevin. Knock it, man. I don't like that, man. Don't act like that man's whole argument is shot because you don't agree with his sentiments. You don't agree how he feels or what he says about you. It's okay to disagree with that, but don't act like that. You killing that man's livelihood possibly by trying to act like he's not a reliable source. And again, people want Chris to reveal the DMs between him and Kevin. He's not going to do that. He's a professional journalist that has integrity. He's not going to reveal conversations that he has off the record with players just to prove a point. It's not worth it. Let Kevin Durant feel how he feels. As long as Chris comes out and defends his honor, like he says, I'm going to defend my credibility, which he did. Okay, Kevin can say what he wants to say, but releasing DMs would be unprofessional, and other superstars wouldn't want to deal with Chris Broussard in the future because Kevin tried to make it seem like he's discredible, like he's just not credible at all. He's not going to risk his whole, his rapport with superstars by revealing personal DMs to show the world that, I'm telling the truth, Kevin lying. Nah, he's not going to play that childish game back and forth with Kevin Durant. But here's Kevin Durant again. He doesn't like something somebody says, so he's trying to discredit them in general. And I'm like, don't do that, bro. Stop it, man. Stop it. Again, you can respond when a media member says something about you. You can respond however you want. You can respond, but don't act like the man is just completely lying. And until Kevin says he never DM'd Chris Broussard about anything like that, he never talked about basketball, he's never talked about faith, he's never talked about how Chris handles him in the media, then I'm going to believe Chris Broussard. That's it, y'all. Peace.